Respect the top, respect the top. 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 Respect the top, respect the top.
Hello, folks. My name is Jerry B. from Pride and Glory Travel Cruise Planner, and I'm here to tell you about our Where to Next 2026 vacation calendar. Starting off with May 2nd on Freedom of the Seas, Royal Caribbean, going out for 5 days. Then we're doing our land and air vacation. You asked for it. Here we're going out to Vegas in 6 days over in Hawaii and just having a blast. And this kicks off on June 17th. Then another one you asked for, we head back out to Alaska again on July 26th on a beautiful ship, Celebrity Edge. Then in October, another trip you asked for. We headed over to Aruba and Carousel. This is going out October 17th on Allure of the Seas. And then our biggest trip of the year is on Allure of the Seas, November 29th, which is our hog biker cruise. You don't need to be a hog or biker to attend. Just come have some fun. We having our leather and lace karaoke party. We having a pool get together. And you got entertainment by me, Jerry B, and my younger brother, Timmy B, doing the show for you guys. So grab your pencil and paper, call Jerry at 920-265-8143, or Pam at 401-368-3275, or John, 703-346-8352. And as always, see you at sea. All right. Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome this Tuesday. We are back at it again. My name is Jerry B, and this is my nephew, Boo, in the house. How you doing, young man?
How you doing, sir? How you doing?
I am doing blessed, man. I hope you had a good Easter this weekend.
I did. You know, the wife was home visiting.
Oh, she shocked you on Easter, huh?
Yeah.
Bust you upside the head with one of those Easter eggs? Or did you guys color eggs this weekend?
We didn't color eggs.
Ooh. Well, I'm not gonna get into that one, man. I'm gonna leave that one alone. This is PG right here, you know. So
yeah.
Oh man, it's all good though, man. I'm glad you guys. She's at home and came hang out with you. How's her mom's doing?
Doing better. Unfortunately, her last surviving sibling passed away on Easter.
Wow. Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, it was kind of rough, you know. With Kiki not being there with her, they had to try and hide phones and tablets so that nobody could call her and
tell her.
Wow.
So, wow, man. Yeah. I'm sorry to sorry to hear that, bro. That's not something, not anybody want to hear, especially at Easter time. I had a friend of mine's her brother a few years back passed away on Thanksgiving. And they thought they were going over there for Thanksgiving to Turkey, and he used to say dude was not there no more. So it was sad, and I'm like, hate to see anybody die on holidays, especially because every time that holiday rolled around, it's on your brain.
It's a constant reminder.
Yeah, It's just a constant reminder that, damn, I lost that person during this holiday, So, yeah, I'm sorry. You send her my best, let her know my prayers out for her and her family, okay?
I'm sure she's going to be checking in on us later. So,
all right, well, cool beans, man. It's good to see you looking, like I said, your John Fetterman shirt on. All you just got to do is put the hood over your head, man, and you got that boss. You guys will be like twins out there and shit. And I don't like him, so that says a lot about you, bro. I'm teasing nephew, just joking with you, man.
We all good, man.
I know, man. I know. Hey, I got a chance to talk to your dad too this last week.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I spent on about every time we talk, it's like an hour conversation. Because we got to catch up on all the stupid stuff in the world, So.
Yeah, he'll talk like that. Mom is more. She'll talk to you for about 5-7 minutes, and then it's, well, her famous words to me. Well, booby, it's time. It's about that time. She got to get off the phone.
But you know what? That's with you though. She talked to me all night.
All right. Your call after this show.
Say, wait a minute, what's this talking to Jerry all night? You talking to me for 2 minutes? Don't be throwing me under the bus because then my phone will be ringing off the hook tonight. I'll be trying to get some sleep. Hey, you know what? It's great to talk to my nephew, you guys, and we like to shoot the crap before we start our show. Get some laughs out here. So you guys know what our life is like, you get to see how human we are, by shooting the breeze with each other right when the show starts. So I hope you guys
thought you was reptilian, man.
Huh?
I thought you was reptilian.
You know what, man? Bite me, man. Hey, let's get into this, man. Oh man, listen, is if this is your time tapping in with us, your first time tapping in with us, welcome to Respect to Talk, you guys. This is the podcast where we are not here to play it safe. We're here to tell you the truth, ask the uncomfortable questions, and actually think about what's going on around us. So do me a favor, real quick, everybody. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, turn on notification, and drop a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. If you're listening from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you already know, follow the show and share this with somebody, anybody who's not afraid of real conversation. Because what we're talking about today, yes, indeed, this might ruffle a few feathers, but that's what we do here, right on Respect to Talk. So let's get into it. What we got, James? Talk to me, bro.
All right, Unc. Of course, today we're going to go a little bit deeper than normal. We're going to break down what Easter is really about. You know, everybody knows the church side of it, but let's talk and break down what Easter is really all about. Then we're going to get into the Artemis II, the Apollo missions Dua, part 2.
Yeah.
And asking the question, are we really advancing or just playing reruns?
Yeah.
While other real problems are being ignored out there. After that, we're going to talk about language, the words savage and savages, where it comes from, who uses it now and historically. And we're going to talk about that and see if we can shed some light on some stuff that people may not be comfortable with. Lastly, we're going to get into birthright citizenship, one of our big debates going on right now, especially after our president made his unprecedented appearance at the Supreme Court hearing where they were going to be discussing that.
Yep.
So, lot to unpack, and there'll probably be a few more things that we mentioned along the way. So, let's get into it.
Welcome to Respect the Talk with Jerry B.
Respect the talk. Respect the talk. Respect the talk.
All right, folks, we're back again on that segment here. We're, like I said, segment one, we're going to talk about Easter and what are we really celebrating. And like I said, James, if you want to jump on anytime as I'm reading this, feel free to stop me. Don't wait till I get finished. Stop me because I'll be rambling, because I'll be trying to move on, got to move on, moving on up to the
I got you.
Just kidding. Hey,
I got you.
You know what's wild, folks? You ask 10 people what Easter really is, and you might get 10 different answers. Like, yeah, we all know the church answer. Easter is about the resurrection of Jesus Christ 3 days after the crucifixion. That's the foundation. That's what the New Testament lays out. And historically, it lines up with Passover. It does, which is why the timing even matters in the first place. But then, and only then, you look around today and it's like, hold on, where did the eggs come from? The bunny, the basket full of candy.
Yep, I remember Easter was all about Easter Sunday going to church and then Sunday dinner afterwards.
Well, yeah, I mean, back in the day, we used to get dressed to the hill. My goodness, man, going to church. And before that, we would do eggs up and sit around the house. And that was it was just something we did. Think about it. A bunny laying eggs, though. Come on, think about that with your reality. Now that we're all adults, bunnies laying eggs. Okay, well, it doesn't happen. That alone should make you pause for a second.
It depends on what cultural neighborhood you come from, too.
Yeah.
Because I got to a point where when I started traveling around, I actually saw people taking those plastic eggs and they hung them from trees.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a whole different custom than I was used to, where we used to hide the eggs or they just appear in our Easter basket.
Oh, well, yeah. Then they start putting them out in fields where, the White House does the Easter egg hunt. They've been doing that for years, where the kids go around hunting. I'm not. Don't folks hold up. Don't be coming at us now because I'm not against Easter. Okay, don't think that's what we're trying to say. We're just trying to talk about the difference of what Easter is. Because we're nowhere near against Easter at all. I grew up with Easter, I loved it, and loved painting eggs with the kids. I mean, it's a fun thing to do with the kids, so
Mhm.
we're not trying to take that away from anybody. That alone should make people pause. And when you actually dig into it, though, folks, here, you start seeing that a lot of these traditions didn't start with Christianity at all. They go way back, like pre-Christian, pagan traditions tied to spring, fertility, and new life. There's even this connection people make to a figure named Eostre, tied to the springtime renewal. Okay, so now you get the mix. On one side, a deeply spiritual, religious meaning, and on the other side, traditions that was already around long before that. And over time, they just blended together.
Yeah, yeah. They've always said that America is a great melting pot. And that's true of everything.
Yes,
That's not
absolutely.
only true of race and religions, but traditions as well.
Well, yeah,
That is exactly, you're 100% correct. Most of our holidays are like that.
yeah.
They are based on uh, a a hybrid version of Christian and pagan beliefs.
Yeah. Well, and you can
So
have both. People act like you can't have both, but you can. And that's I know. I understand your pagan beliefs. I know a lot of people out there say I don't celebrate the holidays, but to me, I'm like, and this is just me personally. I wouldn't want to take that from my kids though. Just because I have that belief, don't mean my kids should have that belief. When your kids and their friends and they see their friends all around going Easter egg hunting and painting eggs and doing stuff like that, but I can't do this, or I can't have a peep, which is one of the nastiest candies in the world. But I mean, I can't even get a peep. You know what I'm talking about? Those little marshmallow,
yeah,
yellow
yeah.
and pink things. So it's like saying,
I
I'm
saw one. Wait. I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt, but
no,
them
no, no. Go.
little
I
peep
told you, go
things that
for it. Go
you're
for it.
talking about, those little peep things you're talking about.
Yeah, look like
I was
ducks.
at
Oh,
I was at the Dollar Tree this morning, and I seen those things. They had a Dr. Pepper flavored one. I just looked and I got sick. I got a little sick in my mouth, man. I threw up a little bit in my mouth. I was just like, oh, that's got to be the
yeah, I
nastiest
know,
throat.
man. Money, money, money. I'm telling you, man. Every holiday has gotten to be, you know, we talked about that earlier over the holidays, over Christmas, because they took the holidays and turned it into money. We talked about the Hallmark holidays, and it's not
Mhm.
about anything else other than commercialized and money. I mean, the
Yeah.
costumes. Now, here's the thing. Like I was talking to somebody the other day, Halloween. Like people talk about the pagan. This is what I'm talking about: the pagan beliefs and and the holidays like Halloween. Okay, you can still believe in your pagan holidays, but Halloween is not really a holiday. I mean, nobody's out here celebrating the devil on Halloween. People just dress up and they just like to dress up and go get a bunch of candy. What is Halloween about? Answer me. I mean, I don't even know, but other than dressing up, getting candy. That's it.
Exactly.
You know,
It's. I mean, they Halloween was truly an all pagan holiday.
yeah,
With All Hallows Eve, and tried to make it a religious thing, and saying that Hallow um and how our holy had some ties together,
right, right,
but it's a all pagan holiday.
right.
Christmas. It's supposed we Christians made it to celebrate the birth of Christ, but if you read the Bible, Jesus Christ was definitely born in the springtime,
Right.
when the the horses and sheep made way. In other words, when they started having giving
Right.
birth,
Yeah.
that's springtime. Um, the using a tree, that's a pagan belief. A Yule log, that's part of a
Yeah.
pagan belief.
Right. Yeah.
You know, um, and when I say pagan, I mean non-Christian.
Right.
These are all things that we have combined. We talked about Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
We talked and now we're talking about Easter. It's all the same thing.
Right.
America, um, and I'm not even going to just say America. World religions have this need to be accepted and to be accepting. So they make compromises all the time.
Right. Yeah. And folks,
You know,
like I said, don't get us wrong. We're not trying to tell you not to be religious, okay? We're not talking against
no, not at all.
any
Not at
holidays,
all.
okay? Because I love my holidays. I'm a huge Christian, and I love doing Christmas. I love Easter because I love to see the kids doing eggs. I like to see all that fun stuff. I like to see this stuff for the kids. You know, I want them to enjoy their life.
Right.
I want them to. I want to see kids come to my door dressed in Halloween outfits because they're so darn cute. You know, so please, please, please do
My,
not take that from them
exactly.
because your
My
adult
oldest
beliefs.
son,
Huh?
my oldest son was born in 1990. Little James, he was born in 1990.
Yeah.
I took my Shahada, meaning converted over to Islam, in 91.
Right.
My kids never missed a Christmas.
Right.
And Christmas is not something Muslims celebrate.
Right.
However, I didn't want to take that from my kids. Like you said, I didn't think it was fair that it was something I grew up with. I'm not a hypocrite. Yeah, I didn't think it would be fair. It was something that I
Right.
grew up with, that I enjoyed. I have fond memories of.
Right.
I wouldn't want to see my kids out there having to tell friends that no, we don't celebrate Christmas,
Right.
or no, we don't believe in Santa Claus and all that stuff. I to me, the message of Christmas is still something to celebrate.
And that's the thing people got to realize, the message in everything, even the message in Easter. You know, how bad can it be? You're talking about Christ here, you know, being reborn. How bad of a message is that? It is not. There's no bad message in that. If he's reborn again, he is risen again. If it's a good thing for the world, if that's what your beliefs are, enjoy those beliefs. There's nothing wrong with that. And don't take it away from the people who do believe that. For the people who don't believe it, fine. Move on, go about your business. But don't take it away from the kids. Let them enjoy their Easter egg hunts. Let them go out there and do all the fun stuff that all their friends in the neighborhood are doing. Not, you know, don't shut them down because we as adults, we got to control our kids because we don't believe. You know, that to me, I think that's BS, but that's just me.
Exactly. Some years ago, I had a conversation with a young man who was telling me that he grew up not believing in Santa Claus and knowing the fact that it wasn't Santa Claus that was giving him the gifts and presents. And I said, well, you don't regret that? He's like, no, why would I regret knowing the truth, her being honest with me? I said, simply because she took your childhood away, or parts of your childhood away. I said, as a parent, would you share, or would you have, I'm not even gonna ask, man.
Right. What? Yeah.
You jumping around like a spider just went down your shirt or
Something
something.
jumped on me, man. I'm like, what the heck was that? You know, I'm like, oh my God, I'm in the studio, man. Man, I got all kind of
Um,
creepy crawlers in my house, man. What's up?
yeah,
In the studio,
but
you know, something.
I asked him, I said, I don't think that's fair. That wasn't fair to you. I
Right.
said, I mean, she didn't share everything with you. I'm sure she didn't tell you about the bills that were due or the struggles that she was facing. As a parent, we want our kids to stay kids for as long as possible,
Absolutely.
because when
Absolutely. Yeah.
they have to become adults, this world is going to kick them in the
It's going to
teeth.
kick them right in the
Let 'em-
nuts. This is a tough world out here.
exactly. So you let them be a kid as long as possible. He said, no, she told me about all the struggles. I knew going in how hard life was. I said, then she robbed you of
Yeah.
some happier memories.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Because now there's no memories of waking up in the morning and looking under a tree for anything, or, you
Right.
know, and that's a sad thing.
Some of that childhood innocence was taken away.
Right. And that's what you're
And
doing. Yeah.
and that's what, even though I disagree with the commercialism of holidays, I still stand by, let's celebrate, even if it's just for the kids' sake.
Right.
Let's celebrate those things to keep them, to give them
Their youth.
those better
They give them their
memories
youth.
that
Yeah.
keep. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, me and you talked about that because I don't like the commercialization of it either, and everything has gotten that way. But to see the kids' eyes and the joy in them, and like you said, to take away their joy in their childhood, to be able to just say, okay, they wake up and they got a bicycle under the tree or something like that. And it's like, oh my God, it's just, and to get a picture of that memory, you can't take away those type of memories. Or watch them painting an Easter egg and you get a picture of them sitting at the table talking about how pretty each other's Easter egg look better than the other Easter egg. I mean, why
Yeah,
would you take away that memory, not just for them, but for yourself? These are your little kids. When you want
exactly,
to look back
exactly.
at, I got pictures of my kids, I tell you, and I look back at that and I think about it and I see the pictures because now they're all adults and don't give a crap. But I mean, but I can look back at those pictures and say, I remember when, you know,
Exactly,
but
exactly.
and for the
And they may not dwell on it, because I know I don't dwell on it, but I can remember many a times where we pulled out the old Pa's Easter egg and mom boiled the hot water,
yeah,
added the
yeah,
vinegar, dropped the Pa's tablets in it, and we took the little the
the
fake
wire things and
spoon.
pick up, yep, to pick the eggs up.
I'm 57 years old. I'm sure that happened back when I was 7
Oh,
or 8,
absolutely,
and I still remember it fondly.
yes.
Those are things that stay with me.
Yes, 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 absolutely. And those are the things I'm saying. Don't take that away from the kids. I don't care what you believe, folks. We're going to get off this topic. I know I could have rambled a little bit more on this topic, but we're going to move on to another topic because we got some more things to talk about today. But yeah, folks, please, and like I said, don't get us wrong. We're not trying to tell you not to celebrate holidays. We're trying to tell you don't take away that from your kids, mainly. If anything, if you got anything out of this conversation, let your kids be kids, no matter what. And
100%.
take a picture and enjoy the memories because when they're moved on and out of the house, you're going to have something to look back and enjoy. You're going to be able to look at those pictures and say, look how cute they were. So, hey, let's move on to segment 2 here, you guys, because this is something that's been bugging me. Because as we know, last week they shot this rocket up into space to the moon called the Artemis II. Been there, done that, you guys. And I'm sitting up here watching all this hoopla. Everybody on TV, on the news, and excited. Oh my God, we're going to the moon. They're going to go around the moon. All right, let me say this, and the way I'm really feeling. Okay, excuse me if I'm not jumping out of my seat over Artemis II, you guys. Excuse me because I can't. We're going back around the moon. We already did that. Matter of fact, didn't we land on the moon multiple times? That's why I freaked out about this. I stood up in my chair because I'm watching everybody so excited about these people going to the moon. I'm like, you know, Apollo 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, and 17. From 1969 to 1972, we went to the moon. That's 6 successful landings to the moon. So unless somebody's saying all of that was BS, well, my producer says fake. I say bullshit. What exactly are we celebrating here? You know what it feels like? It feels like reruns with a bigger budget. And that's what bugs me about this whole thing. And meanwhile, they're talking about next stop is Mars. Bro, they've been saying that going to Mars for 50 years since the first moon landing. You remember that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's insane to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. The last space mission I remember, was with the shuttle that blew up.
Right, right. Me too. Yeah.
And I think that was one of the loss of life there is one of the reasons why NASA kind of started to fall off and was no longer a prevalent uh, source of pride for America. Um, however, like you said, this is just a distraction from other things that are going on.
Well, you know, then that's what we're trying to get to, because at some point you got to ask yourself, who is this really for? Because if you're telling me we got to spend billions, I mean, not $100,000, billions to send people back around the moon, but we still got people sleeping on streets, struggling to eat, veterans with PTSD, families choosing between rent and groceries, something ain't lining up. And I'm sorry, this is just blowing. It just blows my mind, because it don't. I don't like it. Well, while we're going to get I mean, you hear him talking about our president say, "Well, we can't fix the problems here," and I've heard other people say, well, we can't give money. We can't do all that stuff and give money away to all, or fix all that stuff and just give money away to help people. But you can send billions to the moon. I mean,
See, here's the thing. This is what I would compare it to. You know, when they first came out with the automobile back in the 1930s, 40s, whatever it was, and Henry Ford mass produced them coming off the assembly line.
right,
That was exciting because not everybody had one, not everybody saw one.
right,
TVs, you know, we talked recently. At first, they were these huge, monstrous things that only the extremely wealthy could afford.
right,
They were black and white, and then the color TVs came out. All those things were exciting because they were new. Now they're commonplace. Everybody has a TV.
right, yeah,
Everybody has. I mean, the novelty of a TV is how big of a screen you can get, or
right,
how flat of a screen you can
right,
get.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
You know, but the fact that it's a TV isn't new and exciting.
yeah,
The fact that it's a car isn't new and exciting.
right,
It's just repackaged the same old thing.
right, yeah,
You know, and the same thing is true with space travel, at least to the moon anyways.
yeah,
We've done that manned, unmanned, chimpanzees,
yeah. It's like, I mean,
dogs, cats, you know, all kinds of things. We've gone up to the moon. That's nothing new, exciting, unless you weren't around for it then. But even at that, it's nothing new.
right,
It's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's like a little kid when he sees goes to his first car shows and sees all these cars. It's ooh ah.
yeah.
But by the time he's in his 30s and going to a car show, half of them he's seen the
I've
same
seen
cars
already. It's
over and
like
over
it's a
again.
car.
It's like, okay, yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah.
car. Yeah, you know, so, you know, don't hit us up with this. Well, where are we going to get the money to fix those problems? We just said it, folks. We're spending money like crazy. We got wars that go on for decades, military operations across multiple countries, trillions spent over time. And this ain't about our one administration either. This has been happening across boards of years. I mean, lots of years. So now it starts to feel like the priorities are off a little bit. You know, it's just like we got money for everything except for the people actually living here. You know, and then people wonder why there's frustration. At some point, we got to stop asking better questions, or start asking better questions about who we're putting in the position to make these nutty decisions out here. Because imagine this, folks. What if this is something seriously? And I don't know, this will never probably happen, because I know these people are kind of crazy, but, you know, what if the actual leaders of these countries, not the middlemen and not their spokesmen, but the leaders just sat down and in a room and had real conversations, not about power, not about ego, but about people? Because if I know it never happened, you can shake your head,
But
but if we're being
I don't
honest, a
even
lot
want
of this
that.
comes down to
I don't
ego.
even want that. I want gladiator style.
Put them in
Let's
a room and let them
put
fight it out.
exactly put some real skin in the game. Fight to the death. That
Yeah.
winner takes all.
Yeah.
That's how you solve it. People be lot less likely to be ready to go to war if their life was on the
Well,
line.
yeah, because they send in other people's sons and daughters, and that's been really eating me alive because they call them these heroes. Well, they're heroes because they died. Dude, if you didn't put them in that situation, they wouldn't have died. You put them out there like this stupid war in Iran that we're in right now. And the guy that went down in the plane that got shot down, there was two jets got shot down and over in Iran, and they saved one of them, and they could find the other one. They finally saved the other one. They were like, "Oh, our brave American hero that was shot down and climbed in the mountains and blah blah." Dude, he didn't have no choice because those Iranians had got a hold of his ass. It'd have been on. So yeah, he didn't have a choice but to run and hide and find somewhere to hide. And hopefully you guys get to him before they did. Because other than that, you know how the Iranians did. They would have beheaded him or did something crazy because of United States. But it's just ludicrous that our country does this. I mean, you don't win wars the way people think. You might stop the fighting. And that's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. You might stop the fighting, but the damage, the resentment, that carries on sometimes for generations. I think me and James, we talked about that before, because what happens is you didn't kill somebody's mom, brother, dad, sister, uncle, aunt. You didn't kill some kids, somebody, something, and you just pissed them off. So now you just made more American enemies. You didn't make
Yep.
friends. How they gonna be your friend now that you came over there and did this crap?
Yep, exactly. It's it's a horrible, horrible situation that we're in currently because this administration has put us in a position where we're all going to suffer, every single one of
Yeah.
us, with the exception of um, him and his oligarch friends,
Right.
the billionaires, millionaires. I mean, right now we have a draft dodger who's in charge of who's in charge of the country, who put a National Guardsman in charge of the military overall, and between them and the rest of the administration, they've gotten rid of decades, literally hundreds of years
Of
of
history. Yeah,
experience
experience history.
with people who know what they're doing.
Right.
And so and the orange one, the draft dodger, has surrounded himself with yes men. And I've heard this quote several times. um he thinks he's the smartest man in the room, and the quote that came to mind and that I've heard 100 times so far is, if you think you're the smartest man in the room, you're just in the wrong room.
Right. Exactly.
That means that if he really feels like that, then he's obviously surrounded himself
We're a
with
bunch.
yes men
Yeah.
that are going to tell him just what he wants to hear.
Well, and we know he's
And
done that. Yeah.
yeah, and at this point, intelligence be damned. He
Yeah.
has no idea what he's talking about. He's quick to say he knows more about X, Y, and Z than everybody else. But dude, you know nothing. You can't even, we couldn't even say acetaminophen.
Yeah.
He couldn't even say
Say that. Yeah.
acetaminophen.
Right.
So obviously there's a lot he doesn't know.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So, hey, you guys. So, just the point we're trying to say. So, no, we're not impressed by another trip around the moon. At least I'm not. I will be impressed when we start fixing what's broken right here on Earth. I mean, we're talking billions and billions of dollars going to the moon. Then he had the audacity to ask for $1.5 trillion, guys. $1.5 trillion to beef up our military. Wait a minute. If you hadn't pissed off a bunch of our military stuff, we wouldn't have to spend that kind of money to beef up our military. So now you're talking trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars that could be used to help people. So when you say where are we going to get the money to support these programs that you guys so graciously want to cut, you rather piss it off up there, but you don't want to give it to other people to help people. I'll never understand people's mentality. You know, don't help nobody. We don't want you to help people, but we do want you to piss money away to send rockets to the moon and be all excited about it, or spend $1.5 trillion on a war that, you know, on beefing up our military.
That we can't win.
No, that we can't. Yeah, exactly. That we cannot win. You know, I mean, this guy said we're winning. We won. We already won the war. We're winning the war, and all this other crap. And now we're still deep into this, and he's still talking this crap. And now you want $1.5 trillion to beef up our military. Just insane.
Right.
Just insane.
We already won. We're winning. We won. We demolished. We need help.
Yeah.
Why aren't they helping?
Yeah.
The straits will open up naturally. They better open up the effing straits.
Or we're going to annihilate them or something. Take them back to the Stone Age. Or, you know, it's like, wait a minute, if we won, why do you have to do all this, dude? What are you talking about?
Exactly. This is all a series of, this is what I'm saying. I want you to believe it. Have faith in me. Well, okay, I wasn't wrong, but this is what we need to do. What?
Here's the problem. They believe
it. Exactly.
That is the problem. They believe it. They sit there and say, oh, he's so strong. He's not strong. He's pissing away your money. How do you take, I know we got to go to break, and we're going to go to break after this, but I got to say this here. Now, you take somebody who's been bankrupt 7 times. I mean, 7 times now. And you put him in, and that's with his money. And then you put him in control of our money that he couldn't care less about pissing away because it ain't his.
And check this out. People, if you don't believe me, research it. For the first time in American history, the U.S. Treasury has declared us insolvent, aka broke. No. First time in American history under his watch. No. I posted that, and I had somebody get in there and say, well, this has been a long time coming. It's not just on him, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, maybe it's not. And then I had to second think myself and thought about it. This presidency was not his first. No. Keep in mind, the national debt tripled under his leadership the last time.
First time because of the tax cuts. Yep.
You know, he was responsible for 50% of all the American debt during his last presidency. Yeah. So, no, this is his. Yeah. This is his fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you said, 7 bankruptcies, 6 or 7, depending on who you ask.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But 6 or 7 bankruptcies with his own money. Now he's able to write checks that's not his money. Yeah. You think he's not gonna kill us? Yeah, he's not gonna bankrupt the U.S.
Yeah. As well, it's too late for that. We're already there. You know, so
we are.
We're there already. We are. Let's take a break, you guys, and we'll be right back at you. And 2 and 2, stick around. Don't you go nowhere. Grab your soda or something to drink. We'll see you in a minute.
Hello, folks. My name is Jerry B. from Pride and Glory Travel Cruise Planner, and I'm here to tell you about our Where To Next 2026 vacation calendar. Starting off with May 2nd on Freedom of the Seas, Royal Caribbean, going out for 5 days. Then we're doing our land and air vacation. You asked for it. Here we're going out to Vegas in 6 days over in Hawaii and just having a blast. And this kicks off on June 17th. Then another one you asked for, we head back out to Alaska again on July 26th on a beautiful ship, Celebrity Edge. Then in October, another trip you asked for. We heading over to Aruba and Carousel. This is going out October 17th on Allure of the Seas. And then our biggest trip of the year is on Allure of the Seas, November 29th, which is our hog biker cruise. You don't need to be a hog or biker to attend. Just come have some fun. We having our leather and lace karaoke party. We having a pool get together. And you got entertainment by me, Jerry B, and my younger brother, Timmy B, doing the show for you guys. So grab your pencil and paper, call Jerry at 920-265-8143, or Pam at 401-368-3275, or John 703-346-8352. And as always, see
All right, folks, we're back again here. You know, we got another couple of segments to go here and talk to you guys about. And we're going to talk about the word savages, okay? This one kind of got me because it's kind of funny in a sense, okay? Because we're going to talk about language, history, and double standards. All right, before I even get into this, let me be clear, okay? Let me be clear. We're not here to hate on anybody. We're here to talk facts. That's it. You know, now, check this out. This weekend, this is no joke, this Saturday, I was sitting here watching Tarzan the other day. Yeah, Tarzan, the old movie. And it wasn't even the original Tarzan. I mean, it had some kid on it. I'm like, what the heck is this in black and white? I mean, what? Anyway, it might have been the first Tarzan before the other Tarzan, but I know. Don't judge me. And there's this moment where he brings an injured elephant in, and he says to the doctor, and he's got Cheetah with him, the white man shot him. So, right there, I just had to grab my head and I paused for 2 seconds. I'm like, what did he just say? So I paused it and went right in the back and said, the white man shot him. Because I heard that before. So you go watch an old Western with Native Americans, and the same thing, the white man shot him. If you watch a film set in Africa during colonial times, same thing, the white man shot him. You watch slavery-based movies in America, same story. So now let's fast forward to today, and you start hearing certain groups being called savages. And it makes you stop and think, how does that label get assigned? Like, really think about this. And I figured you're going to have some fun with this, Junior, because when we came on the show, I said, how does the same history that shows one group doing the dominating, the conquering, the killing, turn around and label others as savages? And again, this ain't about flipping the insult. That's not the point, folks. That is definitely not the point. The point is inconsistency. Before, if we're going to use language like that, we got to be honest about history too. We can't rewrite it when it's uncomfortable and then use it when it benefits us. History got receipts. And maybe, just maybe, instead of throwing labels around, we should be asking deeper questions about behavior, about power, and about accountability. Because once you start really looking at it, the word savage says more about who's using it than who is being used on. Talk to me, James. Come on, man. I know you want to jump in here.
Absolutely. The term savage was literally
Why are you doing that?
used
I got changed. I had my reception didn't close some windows in my office, so you go ahead.
Okay. The word savage, the term savage and savages was literally used to dehumanize different groups. And it was in order to make um the wrongs and the ills that one group did against another, um it was used to pacify them and make them feel okay about themselves. You know, historically, um, the no other way to say it. Historically, white folks have been calling other groups savages forever.
Well, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
like you said, though, when you look at the definition of savage, that was the things that they do were truly savage like.
Right.
Um, all the way down to, it was used to signify someone who had no sense of hygiene, had no sense of um character, no morals, um no modesty. These are the attributes of savages. Um Tendency toward violence. These
Right.
like I said, attributes of being a savage as far as they were concerned. We've talked about religion here. If you don't follow the same religion as them and they don't understand the religion that you have, then the difference makes them a savage.
Right. Yeah.
You know, uh, but historically, when you look at the violent nature, the need to conquer, the need to subjugate, the need um,
Control.
control, that's all that's almost I'm not going to say uniquely, but that's almost uniquely European in nature. That's that you don't hear about other nationalities and races being so warlike,
Right. Yeah.
and needing to conquer,
Right.
all the way down. Even if you go into basic hygiene, I was watching a, a a special about basic hygiene, and this was during Black History Month. So one young lady was talking about how we as Black people will wash and shower daily.
Mm-hmm.
We will use a washcloth to wash our body and our nether regions,
Yeah.
um, and and taking care of our hair. These are all things that we do with intention. Meanwhile, our white counterparts used to, I mean, the queen, I forget which queen it was of England, bragged that she had only taken 2 baths in her life, and that was on her wedding night and when she was a child, for whatever reason it was. I forget what it was.
Yeah.
Um, uh, early early American history, people who came over didn't bathe. Bathing was bathing was considered wrong. To even clean your body, that was considered something that you never did. They would
Well, they didn't
they
have that. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. They
they
didn't
used to
have it
take
like that
dust
though.
baths.
They didn't have it like
Huh?
that way back in the day. They didn't have running water that they can just climb in the shower.
No, they didn't have running water, but at the same time, there was water available.
Right. Well,
You
yeah,
could
they climb in a
you could
creek.
go back and watch all westerns, and there was always some
Yeah.
huge tub that they would have to bring water and clean themselves in.
Yep.
And yeah,
Right.
once a month we supposed to do. Sorry, phone ring.
Yeah.
Do a communal bath as far as a
I
family
know.
was
Yeah.
concerned. They'd fill the tub and one person would take a bath and then the next
First, the
person
same
get
water.
into the
Same
tub.
water.
We keep doing that, in fact, that's where the old saying, "Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater," because the baby was the last one to take a bath and before you dump the water. So,
Yeah.
uh, but that was basic hygiene.
Yeah.
Was something that European and early Americans didn't have.
Right.
That was something that was brought over by the Moors.
Yeah.
Basic hygiene. Uh, that's why you always heard about things like the Black Plague and polio spreading the way it was, because hygiene was not something
Right.
that early Americans and
Right.
Europeans
Practice over here.
had practiced.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't always just a lack of water, because even if you lived near a stream or a lake or whatever, that wasn't something you did. You
Right.
didn't go and clean yourself.
Right.
And if you want to fast forward it to today's time, like I said, you and I, us Black folks, we take baths and showers and we'll wash our bodies with a washcloth.
Right.
I've seen two Caucasian women talk about the fact that no, they would never use, they don't scrub their bodies with washcloths. They don't, white people, we laugh about it within our own communities that if you go to the restroom, the last thing you do before you walk out the washroom is you're going to wash
Wash your
your
hands,
hands.
right?
But white people don't do that as a group.
Right.
They will go in there, they'll use the washroom, and they will walk out the door.
Right. I've
You
seen it
know,
happen,
and
just recently. So I mean, I see it happen all the time.
yeah,
So, yeah.
that's something that we as a Black community we laugh at.
Yeah.
That hygiene is just not on their list.
Yeah.
You
Hey,
know,
folks,
we go out to the restaurant
we're not
and
being racist, folks. Don't get us. Don't
no,
go
no,
there.
no.
Don't go there.
It,
It's not like that. We're
it,
talking
it's not.
facts, like we talk about facts and stuff here.
Yeah, yeah. And if you doubt me, if you are conscious about it, take a look. Just next time you go to a public restroom,
No.
watch how many people get up out of the stall,
And walk right out.
stinking up the whole
Yeah.
bathroom, and walk out the door.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, at,
It is. Yeah.
we're taught from a very early age, and in part because we are ridiculed so much
Yeah.
as a race of being nasty, filthy people. We go above and beyond. We're taught from the beginning to go above and beyond.
Yeah. Well, that's why I never, like I said, it just took me for a loop this morning that Saturday morning when I was watching that Tarzan show and that wording came up. The white man did it, and it's like then I started thinking about growing up in the 50s and all the things that was going on in the world around me, and I'm like, how in the heck can they call us savages when they're the ones out here doing the beating and the killing and the hanging and you call us savages? I mean, I never understood the rationale, and like I said, I'm not trying to be racist, folks. I'm just trying to tell you the when you think about this and think about how the white folks have treated all other nationalities all these years, even Chinese people working on the railroad here, they treated them like savages, but they weren't the savage. They were people working on the railroad. The savages were the people beating the shit out of them, trying to forcing them to do things that they didn't have to do. But so it just hit me this weekend when I seen that, and I never understood it. So that's why I had to post that on our Respect the Talk page, on our Facebook page, because that's where I put a lot of my stuff at. And so if you folks out there looking and want to know where I'm writing at, I'm writing on our Respect the Talk Facebook page because these are the things that pop into my mind, and I put them out there, and our producer kind of watch and see where I'm headed during the week, and then he'll take
And just as a side note to the savage commentary, that was an excuse for slavery.
Well, yeah, exactly, because they called us out.
That we were savages and that they were doing the best thing for us and giving us religion and food and not making us hunt wild animals and this and that. Well, again, you guys can check my facts, but the UN has come together and openly wrote a declaration that slavery was the worst human rights violation in history.
Yeah, I've seen that, So yeah, I've seen that, and I hope people could. I know people gonna say, "Oh no, 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 that's not true. That's not true." You trust me, it's true. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's true. You got to quit the denial thing going on here. Let's move on to the next topic here, you guys, because we got one more topic to get to, and we're gonna talk. This shouldn't be too horrible. I'll try to squeeze through this as fast as I can. We're gonna talk about politics, birthrights, and the question no one wants to answer. All right, this one right here, y'all. This one right here. This is where people start getting uncomfortable because the moment you bring up something like birthright citizenship, people pick sides real quick. I mean, real quick. But let's not slow it down for 1 second. Birthright citizenship, this isn't new. It's the 14th Amendment. If you're born on U.S. soil, you are a U.S. citizen. That's been the standard. Now, all of a sudden, there's conversation about changing that. And deepening on what you asked is either about fixing immigration or is it about redefining who gets to be considered American? Now, and that's a big difference there, because once you start pulling on that thread, it raises a lot of questions like, okay, what happened to the kids born here to parents who aren't citizens yet? Okay, what about families with mixed status? What about people who are here legally working, contributing, but don't check every single box? You see how complicated this gets? This ain't just a policy tweak. This is something that could reshape how citizens itself is defined. And here's the part, people, that don't always say it out loud. Changing something like that isn't easy. You're talking constitutional level change, courts, amendments, long drawn out legal battles. So when people throw the idea around like it's simple, it's not. And maybe that's the real issue. We keep having these surface level debates without really digging into the consequences. But because it's easy to say we need change, but change how and for what? And what happens after that change is made, because once you open that door, you can't always control what comes through it. And that's the part people don't like to sit with. But that's exactly why we need to. Okay. Now, we're going to talk about
Now,
this because this is what got us into this war. Because they tried to say, again, now we're going to get back to this topic, but it's the same thing. It's almost on the same level. Because people say, well, all the past presidents were too chicken or not strong enough to go into Iran. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. No, people knew once you open the what does they call that box?
Pandora's box.
Pandora's box. Once you open Pandora's box, it's hard to close it. And that's why we are right now to where we are in today. He opened Pandora's box, and that's why the other presidents didn't do it, because they knew what will freaking happen. And now we're in it, and we're going to be stuck in it for a long time. And that's what this birthright citizen thing is all about, too. You guys trying to change something that should just leave. No, it's not you guys. Let me get out of that, you guys. Him, Trump, is trying to change something that does not need to be changed. It should leave well enough alone. You guys so worried about Mexicans coming over here having babies and then them all of a sudden becoming American citizens. So what? If that's the case, Barron Trump shouldn't be an American citizen either then.
Exactly. Exactly. It's and where do you draw the line? Because at some point there's no such thing as an American citizen here
Exactly.
other than American
Indian.
Native American
American
Indian.
Indian, yeah.
So where do you draw the line? You got people who argue that birthright citizenship was primarily enacted
For slavery.
for slavery, but where does it stop?
Yeah.
That amendment was passed well before Trump's parents immigrated here,
Right.
and not surprisingly, his original ancestor that immigrated here did so to dodge war in
Yeah.
his homeland too.
Right.
So the apple doesn't fall that far from the tree, even generations down the
Right.
line.
Yeah. No.
But it's where do you draw the line? He didn't come over. His family didn't come over on the Mayflower.
No.
So he's not an original European turned American.
Right.
He came here, and his parents, his great whatever, came here, immigrated, and it wasn't as difficult as it is now to become a citizen, but by no means was it easy.
Right.
And birthright citizenship like you said, his own son, Barron, is the son of an illegal immigrant.
Immigrant, right? Because
So
when she had Barron, she was not a citizen yet.
no,
Which means she wasn't. She wasn't a citizen yet. So that means he was illegal too then. And just because she became a citizen doesn't make Barron a citizen, because when she had him, he was born not a citizen, and neither was she. So where does this end at, folks? I mean, think about that, you guys. It's just this guy coming out here and throwing things out there, and we're trying to figure out, okay, well, where does this start at? So what, are you going to start it now? I mean, I'm hoping the Supreme Court don't do this. I really really am. I mean, I'm just praying that Supreme Court don't do nothing so stupid and grant them
like
this.
I said in the opening, man, he's done things just totally unprecedented, just never been done before. We've never had a U.S. president show up at a Supreme
No,
Court
never.
hearing.
And that was to threaten them, basically. That's all that was. That was a threat
That was
tactic,
all
a bully
intimidation.
tactic. Yep.
That's that's illegal in itself.
Yeah, it is. But
You
he
know,
gets away with it, and you got his followers, which we call in a cult, which they say they're not in a cult, but it's like, dude, how can you be okay with any of this and you say you're not in a cult? I don't get it.
right, exactly. That's a form of witness intimidation or courtroom intimidation.
Exactly. But they're okay with that. And like we always said, had Obama been doing this, people been losing their damn mind. Had Biden been doing this, they've been losing their mind. And don't get me again, folks. I'm not stomping for Biden or Obama. Trust me, we're not doing that here. We're just telling you the facts. Again, respect the talk. We're telling you facts. That had that been, and you know it deep in your heart, had that been Obama or Biden doing anything that this guy is doing, just one of the things this guy is doing, your head would explode. If this gas price had gone up to $4.12 under Obama and Biden, you'd be pissed. If there was a war, if he started a war and gas price shot up that high, you would be pissed. You would be so upset, calling them out their name and doing everything under the sun about them because of gas prices and food prices right now. You know you would. So you ain't fooling nobody but yourself. You ain't lying to nobody but
And for
yourself.
those people, who go back and watch old episodes of us, and I openly say that a president doesn't control, and I'll say it again, a president doesn't control gas prices.
We've always said that. Always said that.
Even when Biden was in office and prices went from $1 a gallon during the last couple of months of Trump to almost $4 or just over $4 under Biden. I always said, and I stand by.
Me too.
The president doesn't control gas prices.
No.
However, their actions definitely influence
It, exactly. You know what? And that's the thing, because I got into an argument with quite a few people back in the day about that too, about the gas price with Biden and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, well, he stopped the pipeline. So, I mean, if that pipeline would have brought all this oil into our country where we'd be so energy independent. Dude, we're energy independent now. Look at us. We got more oil. We are a part of a global market. If it was that easy to fix, and Trump touts and everybody was touting how much oil we produce in the United States, gas prices wouldn't be $4.12 right now. More to the point, we have the lowest gas price in the world because we are producing that much oil. But why is that not true? Because our oil is based on a conglomerate of oil, worldwide oil. We sell oil to other countries. As much oil as we produce, we sell oil to other countries. And guess what? Here's the grift. We buy oil from other countries. Now, how does that make sense?
Here's the wash. Here's the wash. Like we said, it's on a global market, and it's even though the oil is harvested from American soil, it's not harvested by America.
Right.
It's harvested by independent companies.
Right. Which sells the oil to other countries because they want to make money.
Exactly.
You know, it's not.
Exactly.
This is not United States harvesting oil. These are companies harvesting oil, and they're selling it to guess who? Other countries. So guess what? Then the United States, because we need oil, we have to buy oil from guess what? Other countries. You know, it is a big grift. It's a mess that's been going on forever.
And again, you know, I said it before. There are two grades of crude oil, and quite frankly, our crude oil isn't the crude oil that we can turn into gasoline.
Gas here, not here. No, exactly. Yeah.
So our crude oil is useless
Yeah.
to us.
And people don't realize that. They want to run their mouths about stuff they have no clue about. And I tell them, you guys need to go back and do your homework. You really need to do some research and do your homework instead of spouting out just nonsense that you hear from Fox News or whatever news station you're listening to. You need to go back and do your homework. You really do. You know?
Exactly.
Because
You know,
that's why I always say OPEC. OPEC runs the oil market. The people, there's oil people out there who bet on whether the oil is whether oil is going to go high or low. They bet on that, and that influences the market. Our president can't do jack other than influence what happens, but they can't do jack with the oil price. They have no control over it. I don't care what you say.
And his influence now, starting this war with Iran, who controls the strait, which is the primary source of travel for oil tankers, has definitely influenced our gas prices, and not only our gas prices, but our economy as a whole. You can't name anything that we spend money on that isn't affected by gas and oil prices.
Anything, you're getting your crops in, getting them out. You know, it's got to move. It's got to move through tankers, through boats, through trains. It's got to move through planes. Everything's got to move. So everything's going to jack. Here's the thing, too, folks, and I'm going to tell you this here because I know he keeps saying this on TV because I watched him say this. We don't need their oil. We produce more oil than any country in the world. He keeps saying we don't need their oil because we produce one thing first. James touched base on it. It's not a we produce. Texaco and all these other companies produce. We don't produce jack. United States don't produce any oil. Oil companies do. They sell it to other oil markets. He said we don't need oil from through the Straits of Hormuz. He's wrong because the oil we buy has to come through the Straits of Hormuz. You know, so folks, don't listen to this nonsense that he's spouting off. We got to buy oil, and when we buy that oil, where do you think it's coming from? And like James said, we can't use our oil because our oil is not rich enough to turn into gasoline. So we sell it. So, I mean, folks, do your homework and don't listen to all the hype and the nonsense out there because guess what? It's all one thing, BS.
Right. And nothing about, nothing about what's going on currently is in our best interest.
No, it's not. It's not.
Nothing.
And I've said this before. I feel sorry for my kids and your kids. And thank God I'm at 70. You're going to be hitting my ass out of here in this crazy world because what you guys are going to have to deal with growing up is not going to be pretty.
No, because it's going to take, it's probably going to take at least 100 years for us to recover from what's going on right now.
Yeah. Because people got to realize, because now they shut those. Get this, because I know we got to get out of here. We're over. Get this. You got this huge machine down in the ground pumping oil. All of a sudden, you turn it off because you pump it. You got nowhere to store it. So now this thing is offline. It takes a long time to get those things back online. Look that up, folks. Look that up. It takes a long time. Even the oil in Venezuela, which you so proudly touted about, it's going to take them a long time to get that system back up and going, to get oil out of it, because you can't just shut them off and think oil's going to keep running up there, or it's like a spigot for water. Like when you turn your faucet off at home, the water stops running. No, that doesn't happen. When you turn it off on those things, the oil's gone. You got to find a way to pull it back to your pumps to get them back up and going. It's like you got to prime them. You got to almost prime them to get that oil back up to your pumps to start coming back out, which takes a long time to do, which is not going to happen overnight, everybody.
And even one more thing.
I was going to say, give me your last words before we get up out of here. Go ahead.
Even with the situation we have in Venezuela, I don't know if you've heard it, but the major oil companies are like, no, we want nothing to do with it. It's going to be too expensive to get it started back up, and the infrastructure there is horrible.
It's going to take them 5+ years to get that thing back up and going.
If they even jump on board.
They want to jump on board.
Yeah, because so even that's been, that was an operation in futility.
Yeah. They were saying it's going to cost them way, way, way too much money to get that thing up and going. Plus, they wouldn't be able to get it up and going for 3 to 5 years, which they don't have that kind of money to piss away, which I don't blame them. Why would they when they already got oil fields of pumping oil? Why would they waste their time over here? But that was another blunder. Oh, we got Maduro. So, yeah, you fucked up the oil over there, and now we lost that. It's like, anyway, folks, we got to get up out of here. Sorry about that. We're going 10 minutes over. We want to thank you guys for tuning in this week to Respect the Talk, and hanging out with me and James for another hour and 10 minutes, or just say another hour, or whatever it is. But it's a blast every week. Did you have fun, James?
Always, man.
Always. Great conversation.
Blood pressure goes up a little bit, but I get to vent.
Your blood pressure goes up.
Man,
do you have a blood pressure cuff at home?
I do. I'm taking blood pressure medicine right now.
Me too.
And for years and years and years and years and years and years, I've been borderline. And I think it was his last presidency that I tripped over. He
Well, go ahead.
gets my blood pressure up, man, and yeah.
Okay. Here's the deal. We're going to try something here. Folks, you got to get a kick out of this one, because next week we're going to do something. I got my blood pressure cuff here too. So next week, James, have yours on. I'm going to have mine on, and we're going to have this conversation. And then we're going to test our blood pressure and see where it's at. So every now and then we're going to stop and hit the button and see where our blood pressure is. And then we'll let everybody know, okay, where you at?
Got you.
So we got to get that producer up on that. And say, okay, folks, we're going to see if this really works. If this conversation is raising your blood pressure or anybody else's blood pressure, we will find out next week right here on Respect the Talk. Folks, take care. Goodbye. God bless.
Welcome to Respect the Talk with Jerry B.